Hey everybody, it's Gail, and today I have a flowy little skirt to show you. Little. This is 10 skeins of Hobbii Diablo in wild print. It is a mohair blend, so it was an experience. Actually, it wasn't too bad. It does frog out, not great because it's mohair, of course, but it does frog out a little bit if you need it to, which is more than I can say for some fuzzy yarns I've worked with. So yeah, this is a mohair blend. And this is made from a 1930s skirt pattern that I got off Free Vintage Crochet. And I love this kind of pattern because the pattern photo is just a drawing. And so it's like, here's a vague idea of what you're getting. But I wanted to do it because I love the 30s silhouette. Now, of course, this isn't quite the 30s silhouette. And the reason for that is because I have hips. And in the 1930s, I think you were legally disallowed from having hips. The look at the time was everything was kind of the same size on your body. And so to give myself room in here while still sort of keeping the vibe of the intended look of the skirt was every time it told me to increase to get a little more room, I went up a hook size. So up at the very top here, I started with a 2mm, and then every time it said to increase, I went up a 0.25 hook. Luckily, I have enough hooks in my house I can do that. So 2.5, 250, 275, 325, and I believe I ended on a 350. And so that was actually really fun because then I didn't have to do the increases. But hilariously, this is a mesh pattern. Honey, if you want to go in here. So if you get in close, you can see that there are individual meshes. There's a good, it's kind of hard to see.
It's showing up.
All right. But you work them, rather than working sort of off center on each row, because usually with meshes, you do the first row and then you work the second row into the middle of the mesh of the first row and repeat. You're actually stacking the meshes on top of each other. So you're making a mesh and then you're making the next mesh on the next row on top of the other one. And it makes this lovely vertical mesh. And I actually worked this stitch on a pair of slippers that never made it onto the channel because they didn't size out correctly, and fell in love with it and decided I was going to make this whole fancy project with it. And the problem was that pattern that I used to get the idea didn't tell me how to increase, and it isn't a mesh stitch of any sort of fanciness that's easy to search to look for, like, how do you increase this mesh stitch? And I tried a bunch of weird stuff on Google and nothing worked. And I ended up with, I could tell that the robe I was trying to make was going to end up looking weird because the way I did the increases was wrong, basically. This taught me how to do it correctly. So now there is a different robe in progress using the same stitch. And the other thing I really love about this pattern is that this is one of those make a chain the size of your waist and then just work your way down. And I love that because I think we should bring more of that back into crochet when it comes to, like, just using a simple stitch repeat to make things to fit. Is just make it the size that you need it to be to actually fit around your waist and go. And of course, like I said, I had to adjust for my hips, but it's my hips. So yeah, I worked it all over and over and over and over. And then, and this is very important, I did put elastic on the waistband so it actually stays up. I actually put it on and zipped it up without doing that. And then I did one of these and it went whoop. And I went, yeah, I guess I do have to go in and sew in the waistband. So you're going to need some elastic. C'est la vie. Yeah, there's really not a lot to this one. It's fairly simple. It's cute. Like I said, it's on Free Vintage Crochet, so I will link directly to that page on Free Vintage Crochet. And as always, if you've never used Free Vintage Crochet, there are a number of ads on the site because it's one person just trying to archive old patterns. None of them are malware. None of them are spyware. I've used the site for years. I've never had a problem. And also, I encourage you, if you like this pattern, there will be a link on the page that I link to that will show you everything that is in that particular booklet if it comes from a booklet. And then odds are you can actually buy the booklet as a PDF from Free Vintage Crochet, and the cost of that goes to keeping that site up so that we can all use it. So I'm a huge fan of it. Love it so much. And I am now going to go and do this for a little while. All right. If you enjoy what I do here, please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, all of that fun stuff. And I will see you when I see you.